Hi there, this is Dr. and welcome to the Just Time Post Show. It is Wednesday, July 31st, 2024, and tonight I'll be talking about AEW Dynamite. All right, let's kick things off talking about this Bryan Danielson segment because we are currently on the road to All In, and we got an interesting stipulation for Bryan Danielson versus Swerve Strickland. So as we all know, Bryan Danielson has talked about the fact that this is the last contract he signed, and you know how this is his last year wrestling full-time in AEW. So I think this will be Bryan's last match. It could be. So basically during this promo, Bryan revealed to us that his contract essentially expires tomorrow, or if you're on the East Coast, it already expired at midnight. But it's still 10:15 here, so Daniel Bryan is still technically under contract on the West Coast. And basically, we learned that at All In, it's going to be a title versus career match. So Bryan basically promises that if he doesn't win the world title, he will never wrestle again. Now, Swerve Strickland reminds Bryan Danielson that he needs to make that promise to his family, not to him. And I was like, dang, he went there. So I feel like this kind of makes it a little obvious that Bryan Danielson's probably going to win at All In. Or who knows? Maybe he'll put Swerve Strickland over. But I do think Bryan will get his moment at All In. Expired now on the East. LOL, right? Expired on the East. So I actually can't wait for this match. I think it's gonna be a really great match. Although, like I said, I do think it's a little obvious that Bryan would win. But who knows? They might just pull a fast one on us. But, you know, I won't be covering All In live. It is August, as you guys know, is Power Month. For those of you that don't know, August is Power Month. It's a month-long celebration of Power Rangers leading up to Power Morphicon. I will actually be at Power Morphicon, which is August 23rd through the 25th. As we all know, August 25th is the same day as All In, but Power Morphicon was announced before All In. I love that Swerve Strickland, but I think Bryan will finally win the gold. I think so too. So I won't be watching this live. I'll remind you guys the weekend of. But I actually really like this segment. I really like the interaction between Swerve Strickland and Bryan Danielson. I can't wait to see what more interactions we get. Here's why. AEW has been reviewed in October at a big stadium in his hometown of Seattle. It's Tacoma, I think. I think Wrestle Dream this year is in Tacoma. But it was a good segment. Yeah, it was a good segment. So I wonder if this will actually be his final match or if maybe he'll have like one last match at Wrestle Dream. But I definitely do think he's winning here at All In. Especially with that stipulation, there's no way he'll lose and then challenge at Wrestle Dream for that title. Unless they figure out some way to go around that stipulation. But this was really good. I like this. All right. So tonight's Dynamite kicked off with an MJF segment, and I feel like this was your typical MJF segment, typical heel MJF. And we find out it's gonna be MJF versus Kyle Fletcher next week. But before we get into that, like this whole segment, like with Ospreay and MJF, I really like the fact that like Will Ospreay acknowledge the fact that Pac, Orange Cassidy, John Moxley, Rey Fenix, and even Roderick Strong had all worked really hard for that international title. And here MJF just threw it away. Like he physically threw the belt into the trash can and replaced it with the United States, with that American championship. So, yeah, this was, like I said, typical MJF segment. But this leads into Lance Archer versus Will Ospreay. I'm not sure what this match was for. I didn't really like this match. I will say that Spanish Fly was a really cool spot. Probably my only favorite spot in this match. But I wasn't a huge fan of this. I just feel like, what was the whole point of this? Did I miss something? I didn't watch Collision this past Saturday, so did I miss something here? But I was not a huge fan of Lance Archer versus Will Ospreay. Match was decent. Yeah, it was a decent match. It wasn't terrible. I just was like not a. It wasn't not a match I would want to see if given the option. Let's go with that. But it wasn't a bad match. And so, like, at the end, you know, he attacks Will Ospreay, and this is when Kyle Fletcher comes out to save Will Ospreay. And I really like the fact that they allowed Kyle Fletcher to cut this really good promo. He talks about how this country has given him his dream girl, dream car, dream life, a dream house, and forever be grateful. So, Kyle Fletcher should talk more on the mic. He's actually pretty good. I actually really enjoyed this promo. It was just a random match. Yeah, exactly. Just a random match. And you just remember, like, MJF brings up last year's Allin. You guys remember it was Better Than You, Baby versus Aussie Open for those ROH tag titles. A match which Better Than You, Baby won. So I'm sure that Kyle Fletcher remembers that. And I'm sure it stings to know that they lost those ROH tag titles to Better Than You, Baby. So I cannot wait for this match next week. I don't think Kyle Fletcher's going to win, but it does add an interesting dynamic here because now that Will Ospreay is out of the Don Callis family, like Kyle Fletcher himself even brings up the fact that despite the fact that Don Callis told him not to get involved in Ospreay's business, like that's his brother, his best friend. So I wonder if maybe this will lead to a Fletcher Ospreay feud, especially like if something happens to Fletcher because he's out here defending Will Ospreay. I'm glad MJF didn't mention Sky Blue. He didn't mention her just yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does. I feel like Kyle's tag partner has been out for almost a year. Mark Davis, yeah, he's been out for a while now. It does feel like he's been out for a year. I don't know what the timeline for his return is. Sorry about that, you guys. There's a car honking outside. Yeah, it does feel like that way. I don't know what the timeline to his return is, but he's been out a while now. So we'll see. But I do think that this might cause some problems between Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay. And we get a look at Tor Strickland's title, and I actually really like this little video package. AEW is like improving their video packages, so I thought those were really cool. We get the Learning Tree segment, and as you guys know, I'm not a huge fan of the Learning Tree. I prefer Brian Meyer's version of the Learning Tree. And I feel like shut that damn horn. Yeah, I apologize for that. I was coming from outside. Like, they're celebrating Chris Jericho being 102 days as FTW champion, the longest reigning for the world champion, according to Chris Jericho. So, but it's just not a huge fan of this. Hi, guys. Yeah. Not a huge fan of the Learning Tree. So you got CMLL World Women's Title Eliminator match. Kris Statlander versus Willow Nightingale. I actually really like this match. I thought this was an enjoyable match. I think that both ladies knocked it out of the park. Here, I really like that 450 splash that Kris Statlander did to Willow. I was really surprised Kris Statlander won this Eliminator match because, like, most Eliminator matches are won by the champion here. But you know what? They probably gave Kris Statlander the victory here because I don't think she would actually take the CMLL World Women's title off of a Willow Nightingale. Especially in AEW. Maybe if it was like an actual CMLL, she might. But in AEW, I don't see it. But Kris Statlander did attack the security that was trying to stop her from attacking Willow with those chair shots. So this was a really good match. Obviously, the feud between these ladies is not over. We get, I love Taz, but no one gives a damn about the FTW belt or Jericho Swift group. The horn is the SoCal Horn Reaper. That's funny. We get a trios match. It is Toro, Blanco, Roosh, Roderick Strong, and the Beast Mortos, aka Black Taurus, versus the Conglomeration. I know I butchered that. I thought this was a fun trios match. I actually really enjoyed this match. Orange Cassidy made me laugh at the start of this match when he was all acting. He took off his jacket. He was going like that. He was trying to be one of those bull handlers. But you know what happens? You mess with the bull, you get the horn. Matador. There you go. He was trying to act like a matador. He was doing with his jacket. That was hilarious. I was dying of laughter with that. Matador. Yeah, I couldn't remember, but it's Matador. So one interesting thing is just the Beast Mortos, he pins Mark Briscoe here. And he gets the victory for his team. So I wonder if maybe with this pinfall victory, if the Black Mortos, or the Beast Mortos, would get an opportunity for the ROH World title. I mean, I don't watch Ring of Honor, but I could see that happening. You know how if you pin the champion, you get a match. Needs a Matador and the Bulls NXT. You're funny. So we get an Acclaimed segment, and they're basically talking about how FTR is afraid of them because he couldn't show up. You know, so FTR versus the Acclaim is not a feud I had on my bingo card. I guess it could have potential, especially because Max Caster said that FTR said that he wasn't serious because of his videos and his rap. So that's not a feud I would have thought that would happen, really. But hey, I wouldn't mind it. I'm sure it'll be a good feud. But it says that they're definitely going to go to Collision to go after FTR. So curious to see how that happens. I gotta start watching Collision more. So we get another interview with Mariah May. As you guys remember, like Mariah May last week, you could say explained her actions. So this is a kind of a follow-up here. Like Renee's basically asking her about her attack on Toni Storm. And I like the fact that Mariah was like, what, do you watch the show or something? And she's talking about how like she always wanted to be like Toni Storm and got close to her and betrayed her. And how Toni Storm would tell her that the business would eat her alive. But now she says it's her turn to eat Toni Storm alive. So I think this was a good promo by Mariah May. I cannot wait for that all-in match. Toni Storm versus Mariah May for that AEW Women's title. In my opinion, Mariah May has to win. That's the whole story that they've been telling here. Mariah May, I think, has to be Toni Storm. I mean, they're following that movie All About Eve, right? Eve eventually takes Margot Channing's place. So I think that's what's going to happen here. Mariah May is going to take that title off of Toni Storm at all. And what better place to happen than in Mariah May's home country? Toni Storm follows up the segment. And she said that at All In, it will be the romance of a lifetime because she says that she loves Mariah May as well. And that when you find something that you love, you have to kill it. So I feel like if Mariah don't beat Toni, all that build for what? Exactly. You had all that build, challenger after challenger. And for what? Mariah May has to beat Toni Storm. She has to beat her. We get the in-ring debut of Kamille, as she's now known, the Brickhouse, against Brittany Jade. This was pretty much an enhancement match. I'm not a fan of enhancement matches, especially for established talent. I feel like someone like Kamille should not be having enhancement matches. She's an established talent. If she was just some new rookie that started wrestling, I would understand. But did everybody forget that it's not the first time Kamille is in AEW? You guys remember a couple of years ago, she had that infamous stare down with Layla Hirsch, and it went viral because of the height difference between Kamille and Layla Hirsch. It's like she was the longest reigning NWA Women's Champion. But anywho, at the end, we find out that Mercedes Moné is creating a faction called Moné Corporation, and Kamille's the newest member. So I feel like this might try to right the wrong from last year. Like, I do think that the originals versus the Outcasts was probably supposed to lead to a blood and gut match. Unfortunately, that didn't happen because of injuries. But maybe with this faction, maybe we will get a women's blood and guts match. So with this, I don't think that Britt Baker is going to win so easily at all, and we might see a rematch down the road. Thoughts on Shane McMahon possibly being all elite? I'll give my thoughts at the end. So I am intrigued. I think that if booked right and booked correctly, this could be an amazing thing. We just got to avoid the mishaps, the bad booking that the Outcasts had, because I was not a huge fan of the Outcasts, and that feud eventually got. Hope this faction lasts. Yeah, same. Hope it lasts. All I want is just good booking for this faction, and that it leads to something. I like I said, I would think that it will lead to the first women's blood and gut match, which we were robbed of last year because of all the injuries that happened. So the main event ends up being Hangman Adam Page versus Darby Allin. This was actually a really good match. One of my favorite spots in this match is when Darby Allin attempted to do the buckshot lariat, but Hangman intercepted and he did hit the buckshot lariat. That follow-away slam onto the steel steps looked really brutal. Hangman had this match won, and it was ripped out of his hands because he just did not want to pin Darby Allin. He did the dead eye twice. Darby Allin couldn't stand up because what he wanted to do was do the buckshot lariat again. But it didn't work out for him. And Darby Allin beat Hangman Adam Page with the roll up here. And Hangman was not happy about that. So I feel like like I said a couple weeks ago, we're probably going to get unhinged Hangman here. Because he's not happy. He lost to Darby Allin. He's not happy he hasn't been able to get his hands on Swerve Strickland. Even though he briefly got him at the Blood and Guts match, it wasn't. He couldn't focus his attention just on Swerve Strickland. So we'll have to wait and see where this goes. But definitely, I think we're getting unhinged Hangman, and that's probably going to make for some great TV. All right. So as far as my thoughts go, be curious to see what Shane McMahon brings to AEW. He does have a lot of experience in the wrestling business, obviously. I see either Shane McMahon or his son in AEW. It's just Shane McMahon. He helps Matt and Nick Jackson or cost him, but it's Shane's sons. I could see him. I could definitely see Shane McMahon kind of being an authority figure. I mean, he does have experience with that role. I wonder if he would be a babyface or heel in AEW. I want to know how the crowd's gonna react to Shane McMahon. I think bringing in Shane could possibly help AEW. He's got a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge in wrestling, so it can't hurt. It can't hurt to help bring him in. But I'm just very curious to see how that crowd's gonna react. From a scale of 1 to a Sean Spears perfect 10. I'd say this is a 7 as a show. I thought this was a pretty decent show. A lot of good wrestling. Hope Jack Perry doesn't get into Nick Ross again at Wembley. 7 out of 10, decent show. Yeah, I agree. 7 out of 10. All right. And so that concludes the review. All right. So as far as tomorrow is concerned, I will be recovering TNA on Body Slam. Immediately after Body Slam, I will be doing predictions over an A+ Hero Report for SummerSlam. So if I don't see you guys tomorrow on Body Slam, I'll see you guys here Friday after SmackDown. And then on Friday, once again, I'll be doing SummerSlam predictions, but this time with Michael101591, who's in the chat. Look forward to AEW fans because they look to man. Oh, that's going to be interesting. Definitely. All right, so with that being said, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever I go live or release a new video. And I'll see you guys, if I don't see you guys tomorrow on Body Slam for all things TNA, I'll definitely see you guys here Friday after SmackDown. Bye.